Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to be installing AC on a 99 2000 Civic. On the previous episodes, you may have seen I installed or grabbed some things from the junkyard, like the evaporator, the 2 relays, and a diode. The 99 Civic is nice because it's pre-wired for AC. It might have a few more components than the 92-95 Civic or the 9401 Integra. It's almost plug and play, but you need to grab a button and another harness for the compressor. I grabbed most of the parts from the junkyard and Rock Auto for this kit we're going to be installing today. But come take a look at these parts, and we're going to see if I want to get them from the junkyard or if I want to use it all from Rock Auto. Also, I want to give a shout out to guys who helped me out with this. Noma's helped me with my ECU. There are some electrical issues we're going to be troubleshooting on this episode, mainly with Hondata, and a few other issues we may be running into along the way. So sit tight through the long episode. It's about 1 hour long, and we pretty much go through all the steps of installing AC into a 99 2000 Civic. It might be similar to a 96 to 98 Civic, but the switches on the 96, 98 on the dash might be a little bit different. Okay, so here we have some of the parts we'll need to do the AC kit. Here we have a B20 bracket, so this will bolt on to the B18C block. This, if you have the original, you'll need a B series compressor. If you decide to go the junkyard route, we need a B20 bracket. We're also going to need a B20 or single overhead cam compressor. We're going to need this out of an EK. If you're from Canada, they're easier to find on the 4-doors because most of them have, or all of them have AC. This is a bracket to hold down the hard lines. This is a dryer bracket. The dryer is not so much important, maybe this is. So you can take this out or buy a new one. The dryer is relatively cheap, but this one's from the junkyard. I needed the bracket. So here we have a Civic EK bracket. The EG1, DC1 will not work. So that's that. So my plan here is to restore it, because I'm gonna get the evaporator from probably Rock Auto, the fan also from Rock Auto. One thing being, when I find an OEM fan from the junkyard, it's rusty. They're most likely going to be really old. So I feel that if I just buy an aftermarket, refurbished or replacement unit, it's going to be a lot better. You're not going to have issues of getting a faulty motor and have to restore the metal housing on it, because it's not like the radiator. The AC fan has a metal shroud. It's not very nice, so you might as well just get a cheapo one from Rock Auto. Try to use a reputable brand so you won't have as many issues with it. So as for restoring these parts, I'm going to disassemble them all. This is black, so it most likely will go in for black powder coating. I'm going to disassemble the bracket, which has a few moving parts. I'm going to actually remove this stud completely because I don't run torque mounts with the Hasport mounts. So this is unnecessary, and at this point it might be in the way. You might even figure another solution for the bracket. And this is what I'm not so sure about. It might be better to get aftermarket unit, because this is going to require a lot to refresh it and restore it. It's going to need surface restoration. It's going to need the pulley, the clutch, and everything disassembled, internals disassembled. That it might be worth it just to grab a Rock Auto unit just to replace it. This thing most likely has over 300,000 kilometers, and it's about 25 years old. So it's up to you whether you want to keep it or not. If you want the OEM one, it's so easy to find like nice units. People will say, stick to the OEM unit. I mean, if the aftermarket unit doesn't work, you just return it. So it's good to just grab something that works and just be done with it. There's going to be more than one issue taking this apart. Corrosion on the wiring can break, these kind of things. And this has a not so smooth clutch. It's I'm feeling a little bit of crunchiness, like rocks in it. It could probably be cleaned up, but it only happens sometimes. But internals are most likely good, but we don't know. So I got that for cheap, about $60 from the junkyard. I can't remember if it was including the bracket, but I don't know. So these two brackets, we're going to send them off for plating. If it's got heavy corrosion, it's best to get it to a better state than plating it right away, because the plating will show the pits still. So you can use sandblasting to get the surface even first and then send it in for plating. This one's fairly clean. It's got some mild surface rust, very mild. So that can just go in for regular plating. This is going to get powder coating. These components that are going to come off will be sent in for zinc. A lot of times they're not replaceable, these specific fasteners. So you have a strange nut here and a specific stud, which may or may not be attainable from Honda. I'll take a look at it on the lower part list, see if it's still available. And I think there's a bearing in here that we need to replace. It feels a little worn out, but we'll take it apart. I mean, it might even chop this unit, because it's unnecessary metal, and aesthetically it's going to stick out, so we might cut it. Okay, first things first, we're probably going to need the compressor. For this, we're going to need a long, but we're going to have to impact it off. Unless I stick it in a vise, which could work too. Okay, so we got our 14 mil long. It may not come out, but we'll give it a shot. There we go. Small impact will take it off, which I doubt it will. Now we have a problem here where I need to take that off. So this is going to go off for yellow zinc chromate plating. So it's just zinc plating with a yellow chromate dip. And so will this here, because judging by the finish, it was yellow chromate, so we'll get that done. There's a bend in this, so I'll hammer that back so it looks all right, but I'm fine with it. It's straight. I'm not sure if this is an option if there's a new pulley available, because this is a press and bearing. Would it be cheaper or easier to get a pulley than it is the bearing? Because I'm not sure if they make that. I'll have to double check the parts. That just needs to come out on the other side. And I'm going to inspect it for marring. I kind of damaged it a little bit, but I have a bunch of these in stock, so I can replace it. There's no damage on this. So these can get plated. I'll just plate this for shits and giggles, just in case there's a difference there. But now we're just left with this, which I really do want to cut here. We have gone through and cut up the V-Series mount. I removed this section. Just gonna clean it up a little bit. I've disassembled the compressor. I was gonna rebuild it, but looking at the price of parts like this unit, for instance, off Rock Auto, the clutch, you can see the car had over 300,000 kilometers on it. I just don't want to run into any issues using used things like this. It looks possibly warped where one side of the spring is hitting harder than the other. So I wanted to replace this, but the cost of it on Rock Auto was quite a bit. And then I found that these most likely reusable, but I'm unsure. If I look here, possible seepage on some of it. So I wanted to replace it, but when it came down to rebuilding it, it needed a few parts. And the few parts that I needed, like this bearing, for instance, I don't know if it's good yet, but we needed to buy it. And just sourcing everything I needed, the cost was exceeding what I wanted to spend on it. This, for instance, it was $30. So I was thinking about getting this plated, getting the bearing changed. Does that exceed $30? I'm not sure. So I bought an aftermarket one. Is the condenser. The condenser is the radiator on the front. But you can see some of the fins are already damaged. That's beautiful. Gotta love that. Okay, we'll put that on the side just to give it a quick inspection. Some weird anomalies in the fins. The top plate is bent a little bit. Okay, what do we have here? So I'm hoping this is a copy of the OEM one. This is the compressor. So let's take a look at this unit. Smooth action. The pulley is a little bit different, but should be okay. Let's check out the main casting. It's a little bit different. Okay. It's not the same as this unit. And also I'm not certain that this is original, but it probably is. We will be needing hardware to put in this. So we're gonna need the 4 bolts, I believe, to put the mount on the car. So a week has gone by. We just got some parts back from the plater. We had some parts zinced, we had some parts coated, and so forth. But most of the parts for the AC kit are in. I think we need one more piece from Rock Auto, actually. There's a short line that comes off the compressor and goes to the condenser. I still don't have that yet. I think that might be the only component I'm missing. I have all the little brackets and whatnot. We have a little bit of a mess here, but I think we should be able to put this together. We have a few bolts. These bolts were back ordered, so I could not get them. So I pulled some from a CRV at the junkyard. So those will go into the B20 or B18 block. And next I have the hardware also, which was back ordered. These guys. These are what holds the compressor on. I just want to make sure I have it all because... Okay, next up, we need to attach this. So first we need to put the lock nut on. So that should be the lock nut if I recall. So this is the tensioner stud, and that pushes this down to tighten, and that locks it. Hold on. This is a specific piece of hardware. It's not on all CRVs. It's an Allen head, but you might find a 14 with a plate that goes on here. It's a little bit different than this one. This one was a bit harder to find. But these are all from the junkyard, so there's two different kinds of hardware. I'm pretty sure the offset is right no matter which way you put it on. Because if you install this, the open side goes this way. If you install this, I'm not sure if the open side goes that way. Okay, so I think I'm gonna get this mounted on the car with these bolts. So we have the left side air intake bracket. We got that plated. We have the lower bracket. This one holds the hose right next to the radiator, not the condenser. So this goes under the radiator. Bolts to the frame. This one's kind of bent, but it's all that I could find. I had that plated. This is for the dryer. This is the dryer hanger. This is an SO4, so this is for an EK specifically. I think these are all EK specific. So I have an intake box that's an Integra, so I'm not sure how I'm going to implement this or if I need an Acura one. I do have an Acura Integra holder. I'm not sure if it'll work. I don't know what I need yet to install this. On the bottom, this is also discontinued. On the bottom, you have another hose holder. I'm going to clean this up. So this goes and fits in there, and that holds the bottom hose. These are for the upper bracket. The U-shaped bracket that goes on the top. These are also back ordered currently, but they do still make them. So I'm going to use those temporarily. This one holds the fan. The fan actually holds everything up. It's not like the radiator where the radiator is isolated with rubber and then it's held by the fan is held onto the radiator. This is the opposite way. The fan has the rubber isolators on the bottom, but if you go to any junkyard, they're always torn up. So they do have those at Acura or Honda. They may be back ordered. So I'm waiting on those to come in, and I'm still waiting on the fan to come in, which should arrive tomorrow from Rock Auto. Then this will carefully mount here with 2 short 10s, 2 of the rubber bushings that go here that holds on the fan. But in preparation, we need to disconnect the rad, install a metal hardline, both of them actually, and we also need to, we need to disconnect this guy and relocate it. So this is for the AC. This car never had AC, so they just tuck it up underneath the rad support. So you're going to disconnect that and just move it and cut this and move this out, because you don't want it hitting the back of the rad or the condenser. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Because we need to stick in the compressor. Okay, I've gone ahead and just slid it in there. I noticed that the bolts are a little long. I'm just going to do a quick test. Oh no, there. Oh no, they do look okay. Okay. So far, so good. And I forgot to mention, a piece we're gonna need from a junkyard car is the AC harness. So you usually won't find these on hatchbacks. You'll probably find them on a coupe or a 4-door. It's usually the easiest place to grab them. Most 4-doors do have AC, so just go ahead and look for that. So we need to install this in the car. But before I throw it in the car, I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up. I'm gonna remove this connector, pick up an OEM Honda zip tie clip, 2 of them, and I'm gonna scrub each connector, remove this electrical tape, replace it, but mostly degrease and scrub with a toothbrush all these connectors. So first things first, we gotta push the rad forward and we gotta take out the intake. The intake and the battery actually, because the AC lines go behind the battery. So the battery comes out. Looks like I need to do a little bit of cleaning. My box comes out. It's gonna be a little bit different in your car, but you'll have some mounts up here and different mounts below, but this one looks okay. So what's gonna get in the way? My bad. We should be able to snake it through. Just gonna lift up the rad. Okay, so we've got the rear section of the line installed. These are OEM, they're not aftermarket ones. But I have an issue because I'm running a DC2 box and these lines are for EK. So I'm just gonna check to see what happens when I mount this. Just doing a quick mock-up here. We may need to bend them a bit. It's looking like we're gonna have to bend it. So I'm not sure that this particular bracket is gonna work any longer. So we have this bracket here, which which was on the OEM mount. We might be able to use it, but I'm not sure if it'll impact the rest of the line. Running into a little bit of an issue putting these two aftermarket parts together. This is supposed to slide under, it looks like, so it'll slide under on the one side. Hopefully without damaging most of it. So it should slide under like that, and this one needs to go underneath as well. But the issue is this one is too long. So hopefully we don't wreck the fins. The problem is this guy here is too long and I can't fit it in. Yeah, can't do it the full length either, and it's risky. Okay, so we have we can maybe bend it or not. I'm just worried about it cracking it. Tough situation. Okay, the hardware is in. Let's go. So now I can mount the bracket properly, and then I can get the compressor permanently in. Beautiful piece from Rock Auto. I just looked at the photos before I ordered. It looks like the exact same style of crimp. So that would look fine when it goes in. So time to remove this and put that in. Okay, so we got the hoses on. All the hard lines are in. I installed the dryer. Everything is good to go. I've taken off the power steering belt so I can put the AC belt on now. So I'm going to go ahead and try the Type R AC belt. I'm not sure if this one will work, but we're going to give it a shot. This one would be I guess a Denso compressor, and I'm not sure if the pulley size is different. The same ribs, so they'll all work. I have all the belts in stock, or I've ordered all the belts just so I'd get the right one. So we're using a Type R pulley down low. Moving the power steering belt out of the way. Let me just put this AC belt. And so I got the eye-lift pulley. I'm not sure if it's on its furthest setting, so I'll probably do that first. I'll just adjust the arm out. Man, it's getting really tight in here now to do any sort of work. Yeesh. Okay, I'll have to try to go from underneath. Okay, so we have the Type R one up top, and it is shorter than the 56992 P2A13. This one could be from an SIR, and this one is from a single cam, one is from SIR Civic. I'm not sure which is which at the moment, but I know that that's the Type R. So I'm going to go ahead and try the longest one first. Okay, if we look here, we have a 4PK 845. So that's the longest one. This one is a 4PK 820, and this is an 810. So this is, I believe, 10 millimeter bigger. and this one's quite a bit bigger. I'm gonna make this one work. It's a 4PK 845. I think I've completed the AC setup, so I just gotta take it in to get it vacuum tested to make sure all those O-rings are sealing. Make sure this junkyard piece is good. Basically check the system to see if there's any leaks and whatnot. So I'm just gonna take the intake out and double check that the connectors are all tight. But in the meantime, I have been restoring this car a little bit. So I had the distributor resurfaced. I had the VTEC solenoid resurfaced. And I had a few more parts done, including this bracket. I can't remember what else I had done at this time. But I don't know if the car is going to start to give that AC a test. There is a wheel on the back of this distributor. I don't recall if it's installed a particular way. One side has a line, one side doesn't. And I'm sure I didn't install it right, so it may not start. So I just gotta pull off the distributor, switch the wheel on the other side, because I did a full tear down on the distributor. So if I flip it, it should start, but also I double checked the firing sequence. So that's right, so that will be my only starting issue. I took out the battery, so I just gotta make sure I go through everything to make sure I reconnected it all. Because I had to get the lines in here, which was a pain in the butt a little bit. The aftermarket harness was in the way of the line. So I don't remember now. It's been taking quite a while to get this kit in. But we should be ready to fire it as soon as I get the positive terminal on. I'm pretty sure it's good to go. I temporarily installed the gray OEM spark plug cover because I just wanted to see the difference. It really does tie in with the oil cap, the bracket, intake manifold, and the freshly finished parts. But I don't know if I'm going to throw the black one on back on here. I originally was planning on getting a billet one made to match the oil cap, but I'm kind of on hold for that stuff at the moment. So I'll pull the intake out. The intake was a little bit of an issue to get back in because these lines are made for Civic. This is made for an Integra, which has the AC lines. They go through this little spot here, but the Civic ones go on the outer side of it. I did have to bend the one line to go underneath it, but we're gonna make it work. But first I just gotta make sure with a couple crescent wrenches that these are tight. Also, you do not want to over tighten these. One is you'll damage it or mar the aluminum bolt head. You just want it tight because it's sealed by O-ring and not by thread. The O-ring is rubber and this just stops it from blowing apart. So not too tight. That's just an AN crescent wrench. That's pretty clean. This side not so clean. The junkyard piece is a little damaged. You can clean that up slightly with a gray Scotch-Brite pad, and it won't leave the lines or streaks in it. Oh, we are back. We are back. AC is spinning. We're good. was a little loose. It's almost at the tightest setting, so we won't know if it'll start squealing until we push the button. The button that I guess will activate the compressor, and then you'll hear a slipping noise if it's too loose. If that's the case, then I'll need a new belt. Slightly tighter, smaller. That's the alternator whining. It's 30 degrees Celsius outside. Currently it's one of the hottest days out here, and I have no AC. I don't want to hit the AC button right now, or the cold. I don't want to activate that AC fan. So right now we're going to be driving to my friend's mechanic shop. We need to pull some vacuum with this AC system to figure out if there's any leaks. Alright, we've arrived at my friend's shop. It seemed to have driven fine, no belt slip on the compressor. So we're just getting ready to, or we're just waiting on him to get the stuff ready. Okay, I'm not sure if it's out of focus or not, but okay, we've plugged in the high and low pressure line. We are vacuum testing it first to make sure all those O-rings are sealing. We know that this core, it seals up, and we are hoping that the evaporator doesn't have any leaks from the junkyard. And here we are, we're just doing a test of vacuum with this AC machine. 0.10 in HG AC pressure. This means it's holding vacuum. It's holding, so that means we know our vacuum system is good. So now we can put the AC through, and eventually we'll test our electrical and we'll see if the clutch activates, and we'll see if AC works. You're probably noticing that my mic cut out, but we're having an issue here. The clutch isn't activating, so there's an electrical issue. We're trying to figure it out, figuring out why it's not triggering the clutch to go on. The clutch not activating, it was making no noise, and it's still that issue. So the fan kicks on, but we're not getting cold air or AC. The lines are pressurized. We jumped the pressure switch just to make sure the pressure switch from the junkyard is not bad. We did some relay testing because we put the relays in from the junkyard. I switched them back and forth because they're the same. We're running the condenser fan relay and the clutch relay. We swapped them because they're the same thing, and nothing was happening to the clutch. We tested it with the voltmeter and continuity, and we discovered that it's not getting a ground. So the ground is not triggering. And then I typed it into ChatGPT to figure out what's going on. And apparently if you have Hondata, you need to enable it in the ECU. If we're running a stock ECU, it'll automatically enable it. But we're running an aftermarket ECU, so I need to double check the pinout is correct, make sure it's wired correctly for ground, and we need to check Hondata to see if there's a switch enabled in the perimeters. So I'll do that when I get home because I don't have an ECU on me. Okay, so what we need to do is test the wiring from the front of the car from the fuse box. I'm just doing this as a demonstration as we did it yesterday already. So we're grabbing power. So you can hear that now, right? So these relays we picked out from the junkyard. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a jumper from the power to the furthest one on the relay. So if you can see, you might not be able to. I'm going to just jump it. And you hear that noise? That's the clutch activating. The second one here, so the second one from the top, is a ground. It's a switched ground from the ECU. So what I'm going to do is test continuity from here to the ECU. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see a little bit. So I have a mil-spec harness from Rywire. I got the pinout for P28 OBD1 ECU, and I've matched up the wires. The wires look like they're the same color in the same orientation, and I'm looking at it this way. So here we have ACS switched signal. It's a blue and red wire. It doesn't exist there, but there's an empty slot for it. Here we have a number 15, black and red. ACC, AC compressor clutch. So this is the ground signal, so it'll connect the ground when the ECU tells it, but there's no wire going to it. So I kind of got to figure out how and why, or where the wire is being pulled in to the cabin, and I have to connect it to the ECU. So I did find a black and red wire here, which doesn't go anywhere. So the way we check that is, if you look here, we have a continuity symbol. It's like an arrow with a line. Just gonna throw that over there. In continuity, how it works is it tells you if there's breaks in a line. So let's say if this is the wire, connect one side here and one side there, and you should get a 0. 0 meaning you got a connection through it. So if we connect them together, there's gonna be no break in it, and it should hit 0. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab that wire I plugged in to the ground on the relay plug-in area. So I plugged in that on the one side. So now I'm just gonna hunt for the wire. So I'm assuming it's the black and red one, but I'm just gonna do some. Okay, so now you can see. When I go through it, I'm getting nothing. Nothing. So there's a black and red there. I'm going to test that. Okay, so what we discovered is my car has a Rywire harness, which is a mil-spec harness that is OBD1. So this is an OBD2 harness, so it's a bit different. So I have three connectors coming off my harness, and it plugs directly into my P28. There's one connector that's left floating, and in that gray connector, by C I mean there's just going to be 2 lines in it. So if I look at the P28 OBD1 connector list here, I'm going to look at connector A, 15A, 15. 15 says ACC, AC compressor clutch, black and red. So it means when it says black first, it means the cable is fully black. And then the second color means it's the line in it. So it says black and red. So it's going to be a solid black with red. And in that previous clip, you'll see that I found a black and red connected to nothing because it's on a floating connector. Means it wasn't wired in to the Rywire harness in any way. So, and then we need a second one, which is on connector B. Connector B is the smallest connector on a P28. And it's number 5. and it says AC switch, blue and red. So the AC switch currently, if you press the AC switch, it does nothing. The light turns on because we gathered parts, the diode, the relays and stuff, and the evaporator inside the car. So the switch works, the light turns on, we put the switch in, so the light looks like it's working, but it's actually, the signal goes nowhere. So the signal goes to that one connector and connects to nothing. So it's sending a ground input. On one side it's connected to ground, on one side it's connected to nothing. So these two, we need to connect to the ECU. So these two connect to the ECU, and they're floating right now. So what you need to do is unpin them or cut them out, because the pins will not work. Your pins are not going to be the same size unless you order them. So you can steal them from here, from an old wiring harness or whatever from the junkyard. You can cut it and you can, I guess, splice it in. So when I was saying connector 15A is supposed to be black and red, we're going to have an empty slot on our mil-spec harness, if you got that. It's an empty slot. So 15 on here is not connected because it's on that other connector. And on connector B, we're going to have number 5 unpinned as well. So, you can picture it like this ECU here if it's not too blurry. So if you looked through this and you looked at connector A, you have B and you have D or whatever. This is not the same ECU, but just for an example, we're gonna look at the diagram here. It says 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Those are the top ones. And we're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th connector over, the pin over, and it's gonna be blank. So we need to stick a connector pin in there with a lead on it, cut it and splice it in with the other black and red wire. So when we connect that, we splice it. Same with connector B, this is the switch. This is the switch coming from the interior. The blue, and I believe it says red, and this is the car essentially. The colored cables are the car. So we're gonna put that into the ECU. This here is my old harness before I went mil-spec. So you can harvest it for parts and things. It's kind of a janky harness, but like I always keep them because you never know when you need a connector or whatever, or stuff off, or need to understand how something is connected. So you have to unlock it. They all have different kinds of locks. Unlock, stick a pick in there on one side, lift up the tab, and yank it out. And then you would also cut it. But there's a hanging connector is what I'm trying to explain here. Is there's a hanging connector in the car when I'm running a P28. It's just floating there like this. It has one black and red lead and then one blue and red. So we can cut it off from there because the connector may not fit into our new location on the other ECU. And then we're going to take these two, snip it, and connect it. So these are the wires we need because this goes to the relay and this goes to the switch. Ignore the colors. So that's what we're attempting to do right now. Okay, we're in the car now. The ignition is on if you understand how Hondata works a little bit. Ignition is on. It's live. So we click that. Start, stop data logging. So we're live on the car. So there's quite a few things here. A couple of important things are the air conditioning switch and ACCLL. You see air conditioning clutch is off, but and the switch is off actually too. So we're going to look at those. So when you connect the wire and it hits ground, you push that button. So in order for that to trigger to turn on, the fan has to be on, just like normal AC. So I'm going to hit the AC switch. Now watch the AC switch go on. AC switch is on. I can hear the fan running like we did at the mechanic shop. But the second portion of this is the switch is not for the fan. That's directly wired from the switch, the fan. The clutch, however, is not. It must go through the ECU. So here we see that the clutch is not activating yet. One is because the car is not on. I wired it in to the ECU. So the car's running right now. I just heard the clutch fan switch on, so I'm just gonna turn it off. It's just to give you a look at it. It's working now. So AC switch, turn it on, and AC is on. So my AC is now blowing cold. It is working, but it took some time to get to this point. One is we had to mechanically wire it up, but then Hondata was also causing issues as well. And I'm going to disconnect this and I'm going to head back inside because it is raining a bit, and I'll give you a look at some issues that arise in Hondata. Sorry guys, excuse the crudity of this clip. Okay, so we need to go into S Manager and look at some settings here. I'm going to click the miscellaneous. This is not my map. This is what someone sent me. I was trying to diagnose my issues because air conditioning with Hondata is actually quite glitchy, and people have discovered ways to make it work. These are the main settings in Hondata. Is in under miscellaneous parameters. You're going to have air conditioning switch off AC when RPM is over 10,000. So this guy has it, so his AC never turns off. Switch off AC when throttle is more than 113%. So this is not even possible. So he put it in so the clutch never deactivates. So you do get that horsepower drain from an AC compressor, but Hondata actually lets you drive while having AC, and it should be like within a range. Let's say if you want to go up a hill, you want more power. AC can shut off for a brief moment. AC will still work until it loses that energy or whatever, but so you would set that up how you want your clutch to activate. So switch off AC when throttle is more than 113. This does not affect the fan like modern cars. The fan always stays on with the switch. So this is only for the clutch. But I'll show you where Hondata has an issue or a bug. So we have 3 auxiliary inputs for nitrous or auxiliary. So sometimes, not in all cases, so let's go nitrous auxiliary 1 for instance. We go to input, it's disabled. I'm just going to enable it to nitrous and put this to air conditioning switch. and I'll give you an understanding of how it works. So if we have this function on as nitrous control, arming input, so when you hit the air conditioning switch on, you can get it to activate things like air conditioning clutch, so activate as it should work normally. So you can get it to activate air conditioning clutch, purge valve, secondary intake runner, radiator fan control. Some extra controls for air conditioning that may cause issues indirectly. So first we're going to look at the auxiliaries, and we're going to figure out why they cause issues and where the bug is with them from other users and from our own, issues here. So we have nitrous auxiliary 1. So let's say if this is disabled and you have AC air conditioning switch grayed out. So perfect, it looks great. Theoretically, this should work. I'm going to check all these. But some users are noting that it's disabled. But when you click your AC switch on, so when this triggers on, it's not activating your clutch. And no one can figure out why. So some people note that they played around with it by hitting nitrous control on and hitting disable on this. So what I believe is the issue is that this is toggled on and grayed out, and this is causing an issue even when it's grayed out. It's reserving that switch for some reason. So what we need to do is go through all these and enable them briefly. So we're just going to enable it for our generic output or whatever. We're going to disable this. We're going to go to output. We're going to disable or switch this one so it's on air conditioning clutch switch. And we don't need to do that right now. So we're going to disable it. So it has nothing to do with our AC stuff. Go through that and disable it. And there's one more, is onboard data logging. One user noted, when I say one user, there's not too many facts online about this, but users reported directly to me. I have quite a bit of following of Honda users on Instagram. They mentioned that this can cause an issue too. So onboard data logging, the switch to manually data log, so when you click the switch, it enables data logging on some users. So this, you need to click enable, remove this, and just hit disable on that, and turn it off. And that removes any instances of clutch switch or the clutch being used, even if it is toggled off. So now you're going to go around and play with it, and you're going to notice that this doesn't disable or enable. What I noted was I had to let the car run for a minute. So I turned it on, hit the clutch switch, it turned on but never activated this. And I played around with these switches forever. I noticed that there's a delay. So even if you do click the upload and make your changes on the ECU, that this takes a while to activate. So let it sit for 1 minute after you made the changes and let the car run, then click it, and you may note that this turns on and off. If you wired it up correctly, you can hear the clutch switch activating. It's a loud clicking noise. So you click it and you hear a click of the relay and the switch triggering. And hopefully that fixes your issue. So hopefully that fixes your issue if you are using Hondata. It took me a while to figure this out. So there's many issues with my setup. I ended up sending my ECU to Nomis because he found that my AC circuit was fried on my pretty much brand new Hondata built P28. It could have been fried from the wonky ECU harness that I had it on. So I had a OEM harness and I had a jumper, and that's how I would use Hondata at first on my car. Then I eventually ended up putting the mil-spec harness in and then connecting it directly. That could have fried the AC circuit, but that could be only on my case basis. Mine was not triggering, so after I wired it, I hit a continuity tester, so I had an open lead off the A15 or off the 15, the ACC clutch trigger ground out. I did a continuity test from that to ground, so in between that, and when I hit the switch in the car, AC on, it wouldn't do anything. So it wasn't triggering it properly. And what Nomis IND on Instagram found is that it was constant. There was no on and off trigger. So Nomis fixed it up in one day and sent it back to me. And then we got it working. So that's where we're at now. So after all this diagnostics, I tried all this. It ended up being the ECU board, but that's a separate issue. That was just by fluke that it was the AC circuit, but we have it working now, and we went through all these this troubleshooting, and we got it working. And they all did cause the issue, because even though the circuit wasn't grounding, this was still showing on, so it was still an issue here that it wasn't triggering, and then physically the circuit had to be fixed, but that was my own personal issue. Okay, so we're already at quite a long video, at an hour, but I wanted to go over some other points. So Hondata is already programmed to activate AC. It'll raise your RPM, so the extra resistance on the engine, it doesn't stall the engine, so it raises your RPM. But let's say if we take the auxiliary one, the nitrous one that we disabled, and we've hit it generic output, and we use it as an AC. So I don't want to do this unless my setup is working first, and then I could go back. So right now my setup is working, so there's no issues. We got rid of them all. So now we're going to hit this as the arming input is the air conditioning switch. Next, we're going to hit this as ACC air conditioning switch. So this generic output is for AC. So when you click it, it's going to activate the clutch, but now we can add conditions. So the other miscellaneous condition is this one. This is just the generic turn the AC switch off when your RPM is up, but we can go in further. We can do minimum and maximum engine speed. So the engine speed RPM minimum can be 1000 RPM. So we can have it disable, which I think it is doing. You know, when I say wait a minute for it to turn on, it could be that the RPM is not in the correct range. So the minimum RPM has to be 200 RPM for it to activate. And the maximum RPM, so let's say we never want it to be in the VTEC range, we can set it at 5000. So the clutch can only work within this RPM. And then we have engine load, a PSI. And then we have throttle, the minimum throttle that that we want it to activate at. I'm pretty sure I should have a maximum there. And you can do vehicle speeds and stuff, air temperatures, and engine temperature. So if we're warming up the engine, we can have it so the clutch doesn't activate when it's cold. Is that a reason it wasn't triggering? We don't know. So, but if we do it manually, the functions, we can set it. So this is that. Let's say we want it kind of warmed, 140, and the maximum 220 or whatever. Yeah. So these conditions also exist. I'm also a little bit wary about it. I'm just gonna leave those off, just because it is working and Hondata is just handling it as I feel stock. It does kick up the RPM quite a bit, like 1500. I feel it is excessive, but I'm just gonna manage it by pressing the switch. So when it's idling, I'm not gonna have AC on start, but that works too. So AC is working now and blows cold in my car, and it was a big job and it took a lot of money to get it to work in my car. But hopefully you guys have a better experience with it. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video.